Yvonne McBride, who we all affectionately refer to as Auntie, representing District 3. We have Councilman Paul Livingston, who is the council representative for District 4. Councilwoman Allison Terracio, who is the council representative for District 5. We have also a newly elected council member, Don Weaver, of District 6. We have Councilwoman Gretchen Barron of District 7. There's also Councilwoman Cheryl English, who is the theologian of Richland County Council, but that's District 10. And we also have Councilwoman Shakese Newton of District 11. Also present this morning is our county administrator, Leonardo Brown, and he has his team with him. We have the county attorney, Patrick Wright, and we also have our clerk, Ms. Annette Carrillo. I'd also like to give some just brief shout outs this morning, specifically to Mr. Brown and his team, Mr. Wright, our clerk, Ms. Carrillo, as well as our vice chair, Councilwoman Mackey, just for the countless hours and time that they put into planning this forum, and also just the painstaking effort that went into crafting the agenda. And in case you hadn't noticed, I've used the phrase strategic planning forum a couple of times in lieu of the word retreat. And I think it's important for the public to know that this visit to Charleston is not some junket or publicly funded getaway, but instead this is an opportunity for us to reflect on the successes of the past year, look at the areas where we can get better, and figure out where we go from here. And this is not to get ahead of Mr. Brown and his State of the County address, which he will give in just a few moments. But I think after 4 years with no property tax increases, another banner year for economic development and jobs, significant progress in transportation penny projects moving forward, along with a AAA credit rating from S&P and Moody's, I anticipate that Mr. Brown would tell us this morning that the state of our county is strong. But I think the task for us as a council over the next couple of days is to figure out the best ways to harness and build on that strength in 2023, while also conjuring up solutions, if you will, to the weaknesses that we have, but all with the singular focus on making Richland County a better place to live, work, and play. I can't think of a better collection of elected officials anywhere in the state that is up for this task more than the distinguished members of Richland County Council. However, my thought on that could change if I miss my dinner reservation to Fleet Landing this evening. But in all seriousness, I am really looking forward to the next couple of days. Let's roll up our sleeves and continue the work of moving this county forward and making Richland County a better place to live, work, and play. The next person you will hear from is our Vice Chair, Councilwoman Jessica Mackey. Ms. Mackey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to start by saying thank you to all of my council members who showed up today to take time out of your schedule. We normally meet in the evening or night, but to take time out of your schedules, be here for this full day today and tomorrow, I thank you for making a priority and putting in the time. Also, I want to thank staff for you being here as well, taking this time out of your day to come and plan and work with us. So thank you. And a special thank you to the clerk's office. They work hard. Yes, they really do deserve a round of applause. Our clerk's office works hard for council members every day. Oftentimes, many folks don't know all that they do behind the scenes, and this and many of our council meetings or events that you see us out in the public, it happens because of our clerk's office. And so we're thankful for all the work that you do and for everything you've done to put this together today. So we started out with a strategic plan as a council. We started back in 2021, spent an afternoon together and all put our thoughts out of what we wanted to see to make the county better and how we were going to dig in and focus on goals. And then last January, we came together again for our strategic planning at that time was called the retreat, but we focused on our strategic plan and really developed it and honed in on goals that we could achieve. We approved that plan in 2022, and since then, council and staff have been working to really align our resources with the goals that are outlined in that strategic plan. And those goals that we've all agreed on as council members are going to be our guiding document for the next 2 to 3 years. And so this strategic planning forum is a time for us to really dig in to those goals and really set priorities for this year. I know we're only going to be here for 2 days, and so we can't really look at all those goals in that time period. So we're going to focus on a few. And one of those key goals that we want to start out with early, and the reason that brought us to Charleston, is to look at our county's DSS building, how to improve it, and offer better services to our residents in Richland County. Charleston County has recently built a new DSS or Family Services building that we will be going to tour, hear from their county, their staff about what was good, what wasn't good, and learn from that and use that information to come back and help build a better DSS building in Richland County. And tomorrow we'll also talk about the transportation pitting program, where we are with that, looking at our finances, the budget, making sure as we prepare to discuss the budget and beginning in April that we're all on the same page and really can align to meet those goals. So I thank you all again for coming, and I think this will be a great time for us to all partner and really move things forward in Richland County.
And at this point, we're going to turn the program over to, over to our county administrator, Mr. Leonardo Brown.
So good morning to everyone. Good morning. So as I open up my remarks, I'm going to be a little bit formal, but I think it's important because of the work that we do here, that we recognize the unique opportunity that we have to gather and focus on the accomplishments and the tasks that are before us. So to Chair Overture Walker, Vice Chair Mackey, honorable members of Richland County Council, first-time attendees, those who are online and those who are present here with us, again, good morning and welcome to the state of the county. My name is Leonardo Brown. I am your Richland County Administrator. As you've already heard, the Strategic Planning Forum is an annual council event that offers us an occasion to reflect on the decisions we've made, the works we've performed, and ultimately the results that we've experienced over the past year. Equally important, it continues to allow us the opportunity to analyze and to learn from our past efforts and consider how best to move forward with the strategic vision for Richland County. Overall, Chair Walker, you are right. Richland County has had many successes in 2022. I want to express my gratitude to Richland County Council for the opportunity to lead this organization, along with my fellow team of Assistant County Administrators, who, if you just give me just a brief moment, I do want to publicly acknowledge right now. So to my left, we have Assistant County Administrator Dr. John Thompson. We have Assistant County Administrator Lori Thomas. To my right, we have Assistant County Administrator Mr. Eric Jensen. And in the back corner, I can't see her behind the pillar, we have Assistant to the County Administrator Shia Myers. I believe that it's important to recognize those who support you on a daily basis as they help serve the community around us. I also think it's important that I affirm my commitment to Richland County Council to continue to do things that provide for a better quality of life for Richland County citizens. So I affirm my commitment to you to continue to do that. I also want to take a moment just to thank the other administrative team that is here present and those who may be watching for your continued support of our community's efforts. So to all of you, thank you very much for your work and your commitment to service. This past year, through a series of public work sessions and council meetings, Richland County adopted a strategic plan. This strategic plan, as you've heard, will serve as a guide for our future actions. It will help us to be intentional in how, when, and where we allocate finite resources. I look forward to working through our first budget process with the strategic plan being in place as our guiding document. The global pandemic of COVID-19 accentuated the need for a strategic plan as the county was faced with escalating costs of goods and services, supply shortages, business closings, and increased unemployment numbers, as well as another number of challenges brought on by the pandemic. Again, I want to thank you to County Council for your devotion to establishing and ultimately adopting a strategic plan. As in other parts of our nation, and many of our residents and businesses continue to face regional financial hardships and are looking to their local leaders for support. New questions and feelings of uncertainty are communities with limited physical access and financial access to quality health care. Throughout the pandemic, I am proud to say Richland County government collaborated with MUSC and Prisma Health and other medical partners to host healthcare events throughout the communities of Richland County. Again, thank you for County Council for your leadership and support of these community initiatives and being directly active in a critical time in our county's history. Actions such as these embodied in the 6 strategic goals that encompass our strategic plan. Those goals are to foster good governance, invest in economic development, commit to fiscal responsibility, to plan for growth through inclusive and equitable infrastructure, to achieve a positive public engagement, and to establish operational excellence. Before these 6 goals were officially adopted, the council was well on its way to reviewing opportunities to provide ways to do better service for our community. Through the review of its rules, council adopted updated council rules that help communicate to both staff and citizens how businesses will be conducted at the council level. In addition, council has been reviewing and taking action to address ordinances that do not reflect the current needs and concerns of the community. Again, kudos to Richland County Council for taking these actions in advance of the strategic plan and continuing on. In an effort to invest in economic development, Richland County has approved several incentive packages to attract employers whose businesses will create several hundred jobs and bring in millions of dollars in new tax revenue. And I don't want to steal Jeff Rubel's thunder. So on February the 7th, he will be having an annual report that will be presented by the Richland County Economic Development Office. I will, however, take the time to thank him and his team for the work that they have done to help usher in new opportunities for success from growing economic development in Richland County. In an effort to commit to fiscal responsibility, I'm very happy to report that Richland County, as you have heard, has not only maintained the same tax rate for 4 years, I'm going to get the exact numbers, Mr. Chair, but it's been over 5 years. And at the next time we have this conversation, we'll talk about the specifics of exactly how long it's been that the county has maintained the same tax rate. As we look at other efforts that Richland County has put in place to address fiscal responsibility, the county has sought to leverage federal and state funding whenever available to support community needs. One such effort I am proud to boast on behalf of Richland County is its continued maintenance of our emergency rental assistance program. Richland County continued to participate where other counties chose not to. Richland County has served many residents, thousands, and thousands of them have received upwards of a total of over $28 million in rental and utility assistance. Many of these residents, as a matter of fact, the majority of them, if you look at our reporting, shows that those in our underserved communities, in our hardest hit zip codes, our minority residents were the beneficiaries of the majority of these funds, which again goes to focus on our desire to provide quality services for all Richland County residents to improve their life while they're here in Richland County. And in the effort to plan for growth through inclusive and equitable infrastructure, the county slowed down the process of its land development code implementation to hear input from all interested parties and potentially affected parties who may not have had a chance to fully engage in the process. As many of you may recall, the process started some years ago, and since that time, the pandemic hit. And listening to the citizens through Richland County Council and through the Planning Commission, the Richland County Council decided to slow down that process to again make sure that all citizens' voices could be heard as we plan for an equitable and inclusive future. In an effort to achieve positive public engagement, the county created a community survey to hear citizens' input on how American Rescue Plan Act funding should be spent in support of the community. You may be happy to hear that the county, after listening to those results, went out and spent millions of dollars in both allocated funds and grant funds in direct relationship to what the citizens said. What did they say? They said, Richland County, we need help in social service sectors of our community. Richland County committed $15 million towards its Family Services Center. As Vice Chair Mackey mentioned today, that we'll be looking at Charleston County Center to see what it took to build their center and how we may learn from their process. Additionally, millions of dollars have been allocated to support small businesses, nonprofits, workforce training, education assistance, senior assistance, recreation and youth services, broadband in underserved areas, services for unhoused persons, food insecurity, and affordable housing. All of these funds are a direct relationship to the survey that went out, the voices that were heard, and County Council's action to support the needs of Richland County citizens. As we look at establishing operational excellence within the county has taken steps to replace outdated technology infrastructure and to develop department operational, continuity of operations, and succession plans. These are things that over the years we've talked about the importance of having in place, and we begin to take steps as a part of our implementation of the strategic goals outlined in our strategic plan to move forward. I would like to now take a moment to recognize Stacy Ham, who is our Director of Finance, and her team for again receiving the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada, which is known as GFOA, Certificate of Achievement. Why is this important? It is the highest recognition in the area of governmental accounting and financial reporting, and I believe it is a great example of operational excellence. These few examples represent a mere fraction of the efforts that show the fruit of the county strategic plan. Now that the plan has been developed, the next step is to implement the plan. And to fully implement the plan will take time, coordinated and collaborative effort, and resources. There are many important initiatives that have been identified in the plan. Each one will be competing for the finite pool of resources that are available. Decisions will have to be made, even amongst the goals and initiatives already identified. Priorities will have to be established. I want to take just a few moments as I speak to you as members of Richland County Council, the community and staff that are present and online, about a couple of the important areas that I think are priorities that I believe that we should consider as we go through this next implementation of our strategic plan. I think that our workforce should be one of our #1 priorities. Without employees who are dedicated and committed to providing excellent service, we will not be able to establish and maintain a culture of operational excellence. As part of the budget process, I'll be asking the County Council to continue investing in employee salaries, equipment, and their professional development. I anticipate receiving feedback from the Evergreen Solutions consultant that we have hired to conduct a compensation study for the county, which will help us to take a fresh look at how competitive we are in today's work environment and provide recommendations on how to improve our standing. In addition to salary, it's important that county employees have the necessary equipment to perform their work at an excellent level. The equipment we provide needs to match the level of professional and courteous service we expect county employees to provide to our citizens. And last but not least, we need to create an avenue for smaller departments to provide professional development and customer service training opportunities for their employees. Whether through education or certificate programs, our citizens will benefit from a more modern, technologically savvy, customer-friendly, and knowledgeable county government workforce. Another top priority is public engagement. I'll be asking County Council to make significant investment in our communications department and our Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. These two focal points of county government will allow for a more robust citizen engagement and involvement, and I look forward to working with County Council on this effort. Another top priority is county grants. Richland County receives millions of dollars in grant funding, but has not fully developed its internal grant oversight capacity sufficient to mitigate grant compliance issues. I'll be asking the County Council for additional assistance in this area. Another top priority is Alvin S. Glenn Detention Center. This past year, the council approved a significant amount of funding to addressing personnel, equipment, and facility issues at Alvarez Glen Detention Center. However, more funding may be needed to fully implement and remediate the facility conditions at the detention center. Most everything at the facility, unfortunately, is decades old, which means most of the facility is outdated, making repairs sometimes impossible because of outdated equipment and replacement more costly. I'll be working closely with council to determine how to best address the financial needs of the detention center, and I look forward to having those conversations with you. I will say that while we have some challenges in front of us, I'm certain that we are up to the task. Looking back 2 years ago, during the height of the pandemic, we were wondering what their future would hold. 2 years to today, I can stand before you now and say that the state of the county is strong. Not only did we make it through those challenges, and many of us helped to thrive and also help the county to be resilient, but we set a chart for a course forward for the county in the midst of that turbulent time. I feel confident that Richland County is setting a foundation of success for current and future generations, and our efforts to rebuild and repair broken and fractured relationships with our community partners are continuing to open up new opportunities for us to tap into resources that we can use to better serve citizens of Richland County. Again, the state of the county is strong. I will conclude my remarks about the state of the county by saying something that I shared with you on last year that I think holds true through the test of last year. Richland County is resilient. But not only are we resilient, Richland County is strong. But not only is Richland County strong, we as Richland County are united. United in our purpose, united in our calling, and united in our service to the citizens of Richland County. Mr. Chair, members of Richland County Council, Vice Chair Mackey, Chair of the Strategic Planning Committee, the state of the county is strong. For those of you who are in attendance, this is not something that I've done before, but I think it's a great opportunity for us to acknowledge not only the efforts of those who are in this room, but many of our unseen faces. And so what I'm going to do is take a moment and acknowledge 31 employees who the citizens felt were important for us to acknowledge by reaching out to our ombudsman's office. And so this last year, up until the time that I had this information, in case anybody is not included, I'm going to name the department and the name of the personnel. Now, Animal Services Department, George Carroll. From the Assessor's Office, Salita Thompson, Terry Bennett, who was acknowledged more than once, Latonya Nelson, Nicole Inman, Shep Headley, Roxanne Hall, Caroline Tower. The Auditor's Office received a general compliment. From Building Inspections, Catrice McGill. The Columbia Magistrate's Office received a general staff commendation. From Community Planning and Development, Tommy DeLage, Gianard Price. From the Department of Public Works, Jamie Miller. From the Elections and Voter Registrations and Elections Office, a general staff of elections commendation. From the Emergency Services Department, David Daniel, Christian McLaren, Paul Stonehill, and Jessica White. From the Ombudsman's Office, Amber Solomon received multiple compliments, Tawana Hudson, Ebony Boykin, Sally Wardlow, Danique Brooks also received multiple compliments. Jessica McDonald Brown received also multiple compliments. From Operational Services, Fred Brown. Solid Waste and Recycling, Ronald Bonnet, the Solid Waste staff, and Juan Gonzalez. And from the Treasurer's Office, Jacqueline Wilson and Gail Henant. These are all individuals where citizens from Richland County reach back out to the Ombudsman's office and ask for them to be recognized in some fashion. And I believe that this is no greater opportunity than before Richland County Council, the executive team, and the administrative leadership of the county than to recognize these men and women for their representation of our organization. I thank you for allowing me to take that point of personal privilege. I think that's what it's called. And so with the conclusion of the state of the county, we'll take just a brief moment and we'll move right into the strategic planning overview, and then we'll pick up with the remainder of the morning. Thank you. Previously present as we went through this process, so we thought it would be important for us to take a few moments and just to go over a brief synopsis of how we got here. Vice Chair Mackey gave a good synopsis this morning in her remarks, but before you, in your packet, you have a shortened version of what the council went through to develop the strategic plan. For those who are online and who are looking at how can they see this information, if you go to the county's homepage, you will one voice, and that's why you see that the council and staff members were all participants in the process. But you can see that the county's public image, communication, engaging citizens and engaging staff, and recruiting and retaining employees were all key themes that were highlighted as a part of that process. Since the introduction of this information, staff has, working with county council, already implemented certain things that we'll talk about throughout the remainder of the day. But one of those things, for example, were the council approved employees to receive a 4% cost of living adjustment. Some of those things were direct relationship to the council's actions as a part of a strategic plan. On the back of that page, you will see it says strategic plan overview, page 2. You could look at what was going well. And so it says Richland County is uniquely positioned economically and geographically. Talked about us having good resource availability. Talked about our credit rating, as you've heard Chair Walker speak to. But then it talked about what might benefit from positive change. Technology. And the county has begun to make many investments in technology. Thank you again to County Council. Retaining valuable employees, again, was a big initiative that the council began to address in this past budget. The county infrastructure, whether it's Alvin S. Glenn or whether it's the Family Services Center the council is looking to address now. There'll be other long-term conversations that we'll have about future opportunities for infrastructure. While it's not currently mapped out, some of the other long-term projects that we're gonna be probably considering in the future, your Emergency Operations Center, your potential courthouse, maybe other magistrate facilities. These are all key areas of infrastructure that county will be looking at as a part of its overall goals in infrastructure improvements. On page 3 of the overview, what you see there is a word share And the larger words reflect words that kept coming back up as important to the group. And so inclusivity, being effective, being ethical, equitable, you see hope, leaders, so those are some of the key things that stuck out. And so again, the county took all this information in consideration as it went through the strategic planning process. The next page just shows you a SWOT analysis, which I think for anyone who is looking at what the county was trying to work with and work through, the SWOT analysis directly shows you some of the key concerns as well as opportunities that are before the county. Interesting enough, as I went back and I went through this process with Richland County Council with the consultant, during the SWOT analysis, I did not give a lot of commentary. And I didn't do that at the time because I wanted to see what my alignment was with County Council. And so for those council members who were here when I first arrived and I did my first breakout with County Council, some of those same themes will resonate from there to the time when you all mentioned the opportunities and the strengths, the weaknesses, and the threats that the county was facing. So I felt good about the alignment between myself and Richland County Council in leading the team forward through the process from an operational standpoint. Some of the key things that we want to focus on is celebrating the wins of the county more often. And one of the ways we're going to be able to do that is through working with our communications department. So one of the reasons why I talked about the opportunity for more investment there is because historically we've given some attention to that department, but we want to do bigger and better things for the county. It is going to require more resources for us to be able to do that on a grander scale, which will allow us to connect with the citizens and show them what we provide for them. Additionally, it talked about being more proactive, more regularly. So those are some of, again, the key things that were listed under our strategic plan overview on page 4. Then you see the new vision and mission statement that were updated. Again, the county fundamentally is about improving the quality of life for citizens both today and in the future, and to make sure that it's a long-lasting improvement. On strategic plan overview, page 6, in your packet, these are some of the key things that council members said would show that there were evidences of success. So as we move forward into the next year and as the staff works on this current year, these are some of the things we'll be going back to look at. Are we seeing these evidences of success? So again, I won't go into the specific details of all of those. Again, I just want to provide a high-level overview of some of the conversations that we had throughout the process. And then when you move over to the strategic plan overview, page 7, you see the goals listed. Those are the goals you heard me mention in the state of the county. Those are the goals I've been trying to mention each time I speak before the public to communicate Richland County's focus in these areas. These are not just words on the page. These are activities and actions and thoughts and living things that we will be putting in place if we have not already put in place. I've tried to identify for you some of the ways that the county has already done that, and later on you will see a tool that we're going to use to try to further show that. On page 7, you will look at all of the initiatives that are under the strategic goals. So you have the goals themselves, and then you have initiatives. As you will learn later on, we have a little bit short of 100 initiatives. We were really excited about the process. So the staff is looking forward to working through those initiatives. And as we work on implementation, we do think that we'll be coming back and massaging some of those with County Council and making sure that we pare those down together. So again, this is a living, breathing process, a living, breathing document. And so our continued efforts working on this is something that we certainly expect. So please don't feel like what you see will never change or that's all that it would ever be. When we talk about fostering good governance, I'll just point out a few quick things here. Creating a shared vision with agreement by county leadership. One of the things that we've talked about, both as county council members, to me as the administrator, and then from my team to the staff and the staff up to me, is being unified in our efforts. That shared vision is certainly a lot easier now that you've created a strategic plan that we can go by. So now the staff has an opportunity to understand from the council level what your actions are focused on. and what I, as the administrator, should be doing in carrying out that work. I want to highlight the collaboration with other governments. We've been doing a good job of doing that. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback. I foresee us continue to do that. And the way that we're doing that is working with others. So a couple of the key initiatives related to the American Rescue Plan Act, for example, some of the additional federal funding focus on how can you regionally collaborate. So the better we get at working with other governmental entities and working with our neighboring jurisdictions, the more opportunities we're going to see to receive additional levels of funding. Investing in economic development, I think, again, a lot of the work for this past year shows that that's a high priority. The commitment to fiscal responsibility, again, we've touched on that. Want to just take just one quick moment to highlight on the inclusive and equitable infrastructure to establish plans and success metrics that enable smart growth. I will tell you right now, there are conversations that are happening. I know a couple members have been watching these meetings and participating online with the Council of Governments and SCDOT as it relates to how they're going to spend funds that they're receiving on the federal level. And in those meetings, some of the discussions are about how, again, we work together from the county level all the way up to the state level, and how we plan together for the future. So those will be some things that I know we'll be tasked with working on and bringing back to council, but those are conversations that are happening today across various platforms here in Richland County. So I thought it would be important to share that. On page 8 of your strategic plan overview, achieving a positive public image. This is something that I don't want to overstate. I don't think that it can be. Many efforts of Richland County sometimes go unnoticed. Not because they're not being done, but because the avenue of information, we haven't just taken advantage of it fully. And so in this next budget cycle, the reason when I talked about investing in that particular area is because I think it will help for us to achieve some of these initiatives that are outlined here. So we have opportunities now to tell our story, but the number of people that we have to tell that story through the multiple platforms that are available is what we're missing. So there'll be an opportunity for us to address that. The opportunity for us to also utilize services that may not be internal to Richland County, because we don't have to have every expert working for Richland County, but we might want to capitalize on opportunities that other entities have where there are services that can be provided to Richland County. Right now, the budget that currently is within that department is not sufficient to do that. We're making it work right now, but it wasn't set up that way. So we were looking to formally try to set that up with Richland County Council. The penny program. Many of you know there's been a lot of conversation over the years about the penny, but the conversation has never really focused that much on the success of the penny. And so on tomorrow, I think many of you will be pleasantly surprised at actually how much the penny has accomplished. And I think you will be happy to also learn that some of the challenges the penny has is not so much that the penny didn't do a work, but that citizens did not want that work to be done. And I think that's a conversation that oftentimes we don't talk about because the focus just hasn't been there, and that's something that me and my team need to do, but we need the resources to do a better job of that. And then involving residents in community engagement plan development. We're going to be looking to modernize our ability to engage with citizens, to allow them more frequent opportunities to have conversations with us about how we work and the programs that we offer. And in doing so, we can have a measurement that we can track year over year as to how the citizens feel our engagement is, whether or not we're providing the services that they believe are important to them. And so that will both serve as an operational metric for us to utilize, but also serve as an avenue for county council to have a tool where we can show that the citizens' voices are being consistently sought after and are being considered. And moving into operational excellence, again, just a few moments here, because I don't want to steal Abby's thunder, but creating reporting dashboards. This is going to be a way for you as a council member, absent of a staff member and being present with you, being able to show your constituents, your fellow residents, how they can access information about Richland County in a way that shows what Richland County is doing. What are the priorities? How are they being met? How are they being tracked? And whether or not these things are actually being completed and at what timeliness are they being completed. These are all tools that are going to be in place because you as a council have approved the modernization of technology, and because of that, we now have programs that we are already implementing to move forward with some of these initiatives. These things did not exist before you approved the funding this past year. And last but not least, on page 8, bold steps was the big key there. And the idea behind bold steps was taking Richland County to the next level and being able to have our actions and the community's understanding of our actions show that Richland County is engaged and the work that we're doing is meaningful to the citizens. And so in looking at those bold steps, you have a diagram, and it looks at some of the specific goals that we talked about, but it also incorporates some other areas that we thought reflected what a next level would look like in Richland County. And as you look at that, you will notice at the bottom of that page, it talks about the values from the previous strategic plan, which at that time were considered to be accessibility, accountability, diversity, excellence, and vision. Again, as we build up on the work that was already done by previous councils, previous staff members, we've incorporated all of the things that we felt represented good foundational pieces. It was not about rewriting history or erasing something from the past. It was about learning from the past to build future success stories. And so I'm proud to say that I feel like this initial effort by County Council through the strategic plan is a good look at what that can be. And then last but not least, on the last page of that, you have the core values as they exist in this document now. So the consultant that we used at that time was Baker Tilly, and one of the things you can see about these core values is that they do reflect and represent what is said in the strategic goals. They do reflect and represent, I believe, what we are about at our core at Richland County. We are about service to the community. We are about citizen engagement. We are about building a better life for current and future residents of Richland County through equitable inclusion and through programs that allow for a good quality of life. So again, Richland County Council, again, related to this specific committee, Vice Chair Mackey, I thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this, and I think it's going to pay a lot of dividends out going forward into the future. And so now we'll move into the fun part, right? So you get to hear from Mr. Abi Deshpande, who will walk you through some of the capabilities that our dashboard was going to provide for Richland County. Thank you.
No, don't worry.
So this is a special treat for me. I have been given the ability to amend the agenda. without council action. So we're just gonna go ahead and take a moment to break now. I believe it's a good time for a break. So let's do that, and then we'll pick back up after the break. Thank you for the recommendation. us through that would be our budget director, Mr. Abi Deshpande. So we'll turn the floor over to you.
This time you mentioned my title. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the council. My name is Abi Deshpande. I'm the budget director. So we have been talking about the strategic plan, which was adopted by the council in 2022. Now we have the goals, strategies, objectives. So now, how do we know that, or how do we measure our progress in achieving those goals and strategies or objectives? So that's where this tool will come in. So we procured this Invisio software around September, August in 2022. And basically what this software does is really it will allow us to monitor, track all the initiatives that we have. As Mr. Brown mentioned, that we have around close to 100 initiatives. Exact number is 94 initiatives. Definitely there is opportunity that we can consolidate, we can streamline those initiatives as we work through this process. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through this software and what exactly we are doing and how are we measuring or tracking these initiatives and the goals and objectives, and that basically, and also how this will allow us to project so the public dashboard in the public facing website. So this is the back end view that right now that you have in front of you. So this is just as an overview. You can see that this area is basically it explains that the overall progress of our strategic plan. Right now it's showing 18%, but the real number is, important number here is on track, which is this one, 47.42%. So of all of our initiatives, like we are 50%, around 50% of initiatives are there on the track right now. Then also the upcoming, which is the initiatives haven't started or we haven't started working on those initiatives actively. So those are the 33% initiatives. The status pending, just because we haven't received the updates from the particular that initiative area or kind of or particular goal owner or initiative owner from that area. That's why the status is pending. And you can see the 3%, basically 3 initiatives are completed as per the way that we have tracked and we have measured their progress so far. Again, means, I wouldn't worry too much about this 18% progress, but if you look at it, like, since we adopted the strategic plan in July, June, and actually started implementing that around September, and then till today, like, we have around 18%, 20% progress. So that's, in my view, that's a good accomplishment as a county council as well as on the staff side. So what I'm going to do is basically a very quick, these are like, this is like, so if now the plan is, we basically, right now, the budget office is basically monitoring and kind of compiling all the data from the departments, and we are making the updates here. Right now, the budget staff has been trained by the software company. The plan is that we will be now extending